The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Toku Podcast, the best show about tokusatsu you've probably never heard of. As always, I am your host, AJ, that is Jay.
Hello again.
That is Phil.
Hello, pitiful mortals.
And today we are going to do a not so quick, but maybe quick, depends, podcast on, or basically review, on Kamen Rider W. So before anything, let's get the shilling out of the way. If you want to send us questions down below at the address down below, or if you can't actually see the address for whatever reason, maybe you're watching this on iTunes, then the address is tokupodcastu@gmail.com. The server link is also down below. Join at your leisure, unless you're from Reddit. Anyways, so... And if you'd like to support the show just a little bit, maybe send us a couple of dimes. We break a bunch of guitars and we will draw some dimes. Send us down. The link is also down below. $1 or more will get you a shout out. $5 or more will get you a plug for whatever you want. And $10 or more means that, well, congratulations, you just gave us $10. So, I think that's all the shilling out of the way. So, on with today's topic, which is Kamen Rider W, which in and of itself, in our own podcast world, has a lot of history because we've tried this motherfucker 3 goddamn times.
And we've always
Just
failed.
like every other show, and it always fails. So fingers crossed.
Well, that's the thing, because the first time we did this, I remember it was something on Rob's end. We couldn't hear anything on Rob's end. This was before Jay came in. The second time we did this was when Jay was here, and I don't even remember what happened to that one. So let's hope third time's the charm. Hopefully. So, so where do we start? Should we start with, you know what? Since this isn't as bad as Blade, but it also does have a bit of a history with subs. Let's start with subs because we were talking a little bit about it also beforehand. So let's start with the subbing history of Kamen Rider W before we actually get into W itself.
So so as you may or may not know, Double was the very first show subbed by our dear Overtime. Back then they called themselves Double Time, and when the show ended, they started calling themselves Overtime. Get it? That's where the name comes from. Why they started to sub the show, I don't exactly remember. It's been it's been so long. I didn't bother.
It's probably because of the Akuma Dino 3.
So yes. So as we all know, TV Nihon is bad. Let's just put it like that. They're bad. Their most infamous gaffe, probably beyond all of Blade, was near the tail end of a decade when they started showing previews for Double. They subtitled one, and in the first episode, there's a part where Philip is handing the belt to Shotaro, and he says something like, "Do you have the courage to ride with the devil," or whatever. And
the famous line,
Yeah, and I don't remember how exactly that's pronounced in Japanese. But the way they subbed it, they subtitled that line as Akuma Dino 3 Yuki. Exactly. They didn't translate half of the sentence, and they got it completely wrong.
You see, Akuma, okay, devil, but Akuma Dino 3 Yuki, that is just pigeon bullshit.
They got 2 of the words right, but they didn't translate those words, and everything else was wrong.
And then the rest of it was garbage. Complete bollocks. I can understand maybe leaving something untranslated because that's what just TVN does. What Bakasan Danba Tachi. I get it, but where the fuck did they get dinosaurs from?
Well, that's the thing is that when you listen,
we weren't even in episode 1 yet.
If you listen to the line there, with those subs, you can kind of hear it sounds like he says Dino and 3 in English, in bad English. while he's saying the word in Japanese. And Takanoko, being, as I have said many times before, a half-deaf Malaysian who doesn't understand Japanese, thought he was just saying that in English. But he got the right words in Japanese and then still didn't translate them. And now, of course, when the actual episode aired...
Would it have made any more sense in English if he says, "Do you have the courage to ride with the Dino 3?"
No.
Maybe he likes Alba Ranger.
Would it have made it any better?
No.
Yeah. Double just happened to be the long lost sequel to Alba Ranger.
I don't know. The fucking Alba Ranger, all 12 Alba Ranger fans are still hoping for that. So I joke. Alba Ranger is good.
Fair. We have at least one person out there who still dresses as Alba Ray Pink.
I don't know. At least Alba Ranger is good. So no.
This
this, they thought enough to fix the line before the actual episode aired.
Yeah, because I never saw
that. He translated it that way and looked at it. And it was like, yeah, this is fine. Until people started making fun of him for it. Like
it's times like these where I wish Takanoko was like a magenta type figure. We need more of that. We need more subtitlers going insane.
Wait, magenta.
He just keeps it to his own forum where nobody looks.
This is true. Also, Phil, I'm pretty sure we mentioned magenta on the Blade episode already. We'll mention him again in full detail one day when we actually do that subbing episode or that mini episode about subs because. That's a story. That's like a Lord of the Rings Tolkien-esque tale.
They've mentioned
the story. The last. This is probably the last we'll talk about subs. But the story of Magenta is a story of what not to do when you're an internet personality. Let me just put it like that.
Oh.
Especially when you're dealing with 4chan.
It's almost like a Hitchcock level thriller. Just to see what the fuck he did. God. But
I wouldn't go that far, but yeah, it's a fucking riot.
Oh
but
my
enough
god!
About
like
Magenta.
I said, one day when we
wrong.
do the actual sub episode, that'll be fun.
I need to hear it.
But for today, like we said, as we were already speaking about, Kamen Rider W, technically the first of the Phase 2 post-decade weird shit. See, okay. So it's funny because bringing up Double, and since we're talking about Double today, I've always wanted to say, is there a better way to say like Phase 2? Because Phase 1 and Phase 2 Heisei, obviously they feel nothing alike.
There is a way to say it, but we don't like saying it.
Yeah,
there's... No, that's the wrong way to say it.
Yeah, there's the whole
because
Neo
I always tell
Heisei.
people like, yeah, like because I always tell people like, once you hit like Wizard, it becomes almost a completely different phase at that point, even though it's in the same fucking era, and it's really weird. Like I don't know, like, and every single time I watch Double, Forza, and O's, they feel way different than when we get from like Wizard all the way to now, and hell, even then, like, there's so many weird little eras, but but that's neither here nor there. Let's talk about the actual show.
Let's start obviously with the gimmick. The big gimmick is obviously the gimmicks themselves. Going on.
It's drugs.
Well, yes.
I know the drugs.
I need my Vicodin, dog.
Unless it's steroids, in which case, shoot up, motherfucker.
Give me the intravenous, motherfuckers.
Because
to
be fair, when you really think about it, the T2 memories or the memories that we use to transform are essentially just steroids.
Pretty much.
Relatively. But no, I'm talking more
like
about...
even Hulk Hogan would be like, oh, brother.
Hey, brother!
What dopant would Hogan be? I'd say violence.
No, T-Rex.
I don't even know.
Just to give him that ridiculous head.
I don't know. Is Is there a memory for extremely ludicrous liar?
Well, there was a liar memory, so yeah.
There you go. That's Hogan's.
Oh wait.
No.
I got one. I got
that
it.
finish doesn't work for me. Bro.
Give him the T2 Luna memory just so he can become as flamboyant as the user.
Well, I mean, hey, he was also a pro wrestler, so.
I forgot about that.
True.
But no. What I'm trying to say
It would
is,
make fucking Vince look.
well, yeah. Damn it. Well, yes, obviously, the memories are what I'm talking about, but not in that way. I mean, just in general, because obviously, you look at the shows beforehand. I mean, if you start getting a little bit with Kiva and Decade there wasn't really that toyetic, gimmicky nature where it was, there's a million little toys that you got to stick in the belt and it does a thing. Decade had it with the cards, but of course that was his whole gimmick is that he had the.
But see, with the cards, like, didn't the no, I think that was the Super Best, I believe. But didn't I think most of the Rider cards came with the
I
belt,
think that might have been the
just,
Super
like,
Best.
Certain ones came with figures.
Yeah, I don't recall exactly. I know they had a lot of like extra cards, but a lot of them were just for like the stupid arcade game. It wasn't really like, oh, you need to get this card so you can use this sound in the belt. Most of them were just like generic things. No, well...
Yeah, like, I think, because I know a lot of them were attack rides and stuff like that.
Yeah. Double was the first one that really, like, focused on it and made it a part of the plot, where you had, Double has his memories, where he's got the special one, and he sticks them in the belt, and he gets the different forms. And, of course, that's the one where we start getting a million fucking forms for each rider, instead of having, like, 2 or 3. Again, Double Double excluded because of his whole gimmick there.
Double, at least, it worked. It worked with Double, at least, because you needed that.
So that was his shtick. But with
Double...
Double...
I was actually going to mention that because, like... Because with Double, it works better because... And we'll get into, the story element of it also, but, like, they never had to, like, go out and get their forms. It was really... The only 2 forms in this entire show that they actually had to grab was Fang and Extreme.
Pretty much.
And those were upgrades,
the
of course.
The combos that they had... Which one?
Yeah, those were the upgrade, the standard super forms and all that. And that's...
Yeah, because, like, their normal forms, they had them from the beginning. And I'm like, yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea. Like, just have them.
Yeah, and, you compare even to O's and Forze, where they had to get all their switches and they had them over the show.
Yeah, but O's did something... But O's did something different. They at least changed it around where he would lose the medals and would have to rely on the ones that are still around.
Yes, yeah, because at least with this one, like, they at least mentioned, like, okay, like, these are specifically made for Double, which is I kind of missed that, like, when we had, like, there's obviously, like, corrupted versions of what do you call it, of, like, gimmicks nowadays, but, like, these were specifically made, like, no, these are compatible only with them, which I like that idea.
Yeah, obviously, again, yeah, I'm getting all screwed up now. But yeah, and that's another thing there is that, all the villains had their own little gimmicks too, and of course, you couldn't use those with the belt, those were just for collecting on the side, they weren't really important. But, that's where the...
fucking cat had the one.
Oh yeah, that's right, the cat!
Don't talk shit about Nick. He was a good boy.
You mentioned... It's because, like, as soon as you mentioned the villains, it just popped into my mind that cat wearing the fucking
cat!
And I'm just like... Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
He was a good boy. He didn't do nothing. Alright?
Yeah, because he did nothing in the show!
Yes, he did.
Roided up cat in the world.
But no, yeah. And again, it's really different even looking at, the later ones where the gimmicks are more heavy and there's more toy shilling, where with Double, obviously, he has them all at the start. Obviously with the toys, you can get them all in one thing. You still had to buy the other things, but that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
And it's really different looking back at how they started doing with the gimmick toys. And it's really interesting there, and it kind of, like you were saying there, with, like, Wizard onwards, it starts being really, really different.
The toys, at least.
Yeah, because at least with, like, Forze or Double to Forze, you had, like, a very, very, very set amount of gimmicks. Because, like, with Wizard, it felt like every other fucking episode, it's like, ring, it happened with like everything, I mean, hell, look at how many fucking ride watches there are for fucking.
That's
Zio.
why I
my
never
God,
collected anything from Zio aside from the Woz stuff.
Like Jesus Christ,
It
I mean,
starts to get into overdrive.
people can mention like people can mention like all the extra stuff for Double, but like at least that came out gradually and not like, oh, buy this all of this.
Yeah,
And again,
like,
they're
no,
with
here's yours.
those ride
with
watches.
most of them you
Sorry,
couldn't use them with the belt anyways, so it didn't even really matter.
Yeah, those ride watches go for like 30. Some of them go for like $50 a pop, and but that's all you get. At least when before the Super Best and 20th anniversary stuff came out, you at least got the Gaia memory. If it was metal or trigger, you got the weapon with it. Now, you didn't need it. It was good for the kids, but hey, you got
the weapon wasn't too bad.
But you
either.
got something.
Like, from what I remember.
But you got something.
No, that's what I
with
was
it.
saying. Like, at least with the weapon, like from what I remember, the weapons they weren't actually too bad either. I mean, obviously, you're not going to get a full blown staff with your thing. I mean, congratulations. If anybody actually thought you'd get a staff from the show accurate, my God, you.
I mean, Trigger's model was repainted for Skull's Magnum, and if you wanted to do a Skull cosplay, it was the perfect size.
This is true. All you need to do was repaint that fucking thing.
I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah.
No, actually, they did actually sell Skull's Magnum, and it came with his Gaia memory.
Yeah, but but I mean, what would you rather do? Pay like $200 for Skull's Magnum, or just repaint the one you have already?
I'd probably repaint it if I had. Yeah, I'd repaint it.
But like we were saying, like going with like the memories, like the show itself, like Jay said, like it introduced gimmickry into the franchise. But again, I think it did it because it did it the best of all of them that we've had so far. Because with all the other ones, I mean, O's and Forza did it all right as well. But with Double, I didn't feel overwhelmed. Like I didn't feel like, oh my fucking God, how many are we getting here?
Yeah, where with O's the core medals were MacGuffins, and it was important to know who had how many and where's which and stuff like that.
And which ones
with
made a
Double,
combo.
Obviously, they were important, the Gaia memories there, but they weren't really important beyond that specific episode. Obviously, there was.
I was gonna say. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say like sorry, I was just gonna say like even like in the sense of the Gaia memories, like the Gaia memories that Double had were never important. They were just their weaponry. The Gaia memories that actually mattered were like the illegal ones, like the actual
street drugs,
basically the heroin.
Yeah, the villains.
You know
that's what I was about to say.
If you really think about it from like the drug point of view, the Gaia memories, the ones that the illegal ones are basically street drugs, while the ones that Double uses are detox drugs, essentially.
More or less, that's the point. Yeah, where they're more refined, and obviously they're not necessarily as powerful. And they make a note of that in the show there. And of course, there's a bit of that too with the lieutenants, the big bads, where they have their own special belts, but they use the same ones the villains do, and it's a bunch of power level bullshit. It's not really that important.
But see, I like the steroid analogy better.
Yeah, but no, what I was saying is that where the memories are important, they're usually not super important beyond that episode. And even then, it's more, okay, we got to figure out this guy's power, and that's how we figure out how to beat him. And that's basically it. There really wasn't too much to it. And then they blew it up at the end of the episode anyways.
Yeah, and the best thing about that was, since it was a villain one, it's not like they never said, oh, hey, kids, go buy drugs. They basically said, no, this is one that you don't want. This is a bad.
Yeah,
and of course they still sold them anyways, but it's neither here nor there.
And for the collectors.
Well, see, you gotta start them off young with the gifts.
And of course that's kind of the whole nature of the show. Is it's obviously I'm sure Double is a detective show, so that's kind of the big component there. Is okay, we got to figure out what the criminal's doing. We got to figure out what his power is. We got to stop him from doing the thing and figure out how to beat him. It's simple enough, and it's not really super continuity heavy. I mean, it definitely is, but it's not something like I mean, fuck it. Let's say like Gaim or Drive or something where you need to watch every single episode to figure it out. You can kind of watch it, bits and pieces here and there. There's going to be some
episodes
stuff where obviously you'll want to watch it in order, but it's not something like you can just drop in at kind of like any point and you more or less will be able to figure out what's going on. It's not super.
To be fair, though, I was going to say, to be fair, I would, if you're going into watching this show, I would not suggest skipping any episodes because you could potentially skip some really fun moments. Like, even moments that don't matter. Like, and we'll get into them as we go on.
There's
even,
definitely...
like, little episodes that would don't matter. I feel like you're kind of robbing yourself of not watching the whole thing. Because there's a lot of fun little moments. I mean, to spoil one right now before we even, before we elaborate on it is, well... the fucking puppet episode. I mean, that's an infamous one right there.
That episode.
I forgot about the puppet episode.
Oh, that episode sucks.
It's great. It has a puppet with a gun.
It's only 2 episodes, goddammit.
Oh, I remember that now.
No, yeah.
But
that's
so
the thing
good.
I was gonna say. I wouldn't necessarily say skip episodes, but it's more like, well, if you're not feeling this one, maybe you can just watch another case. It's not super important to.
Some of them you shouldn't though, because there are good little character moments and little tiny details that do get established and then get answered as the show goes on.
Like incest.
Oh,
we'll get to that later as we start getting more into that.
We'll get into that later.
Thanks, Sanjo.
Ooh. Somebody call the Borgias.
You know what? When we actually get to that part of the review, I'm just going to play a very soft Sweet Home Alabama through the whole thing. we'll get to that. But yeah, so speaking
looks like the Lannisters are around.
Let's get into the cast here. And we'll get, obviously we'll start with Double there, both of them. And that's kind of that's the one thing that sets Double apart from really any of the other shows is that the main writer is 2 people. And of course that's the gimmick there. He's called Double for a reason. So we've got Best Boy, Shotaro. He is, as the show describes, a half-boiled detective. He's a guy who really, really tries to be like, the old detective noir, hard-boiled guys. He's just too fucking stupid to do it.
But he's so good.
Just an idiot.
You know what I would put him as, and this is funny because now after rewatching Blade and having it so fresh, I would kind of akin him to Kenzaki with more of a bit of try-hardness, but played for comedic effect. Because Kenzaki would never tried hard.
No.
But Shocho did, and it was more of like. But when he did it, it was more comedic in that nature.
Yeah,
because they both very strike me like that they're cut from the same cloth.
They really are, honestly, in the same way that they're really just, I want to do what's right because I failed to do something at this point, and it's screwed me up ever since, and it's it's my sworn duty to be a hero and save the world and blah blah.
They want to be like their mentors. They want to be just as good or even better than them, and that's what drives them.
Yeah, and obviously Shotaro
I like that Shotaro.
Yeah, me too. And he's definitely played more for the comedy value than a lot of other writers are. Even compared to what's the best comedy writer? Even Deno. He's honestly played more for comedy value than Deno.
Well, that's because he's so good at making those.
He is.
My god, he is such a very expressive actor. I love
If you guys ever want a way to fill your folder to capacity of just reaction images, watch Double for 5 minutes and it'll be like one terabyte.
Dude, I keep seeing Double screen caps, people who have never heard of Kamen Rider using screen caps as reaction images. That's how powerful, and it's not even just Shotaro, it's other characters too. That's how powerful
that's the kind of the cool thing, isn't it? Because I think in this show especially, even if they weren't going for that, everybody in the cast has some goddamn really good expressions.
Oh yeah,
they're very animated.
Really, yeah, very expressive, very animated. It's very high energy. And it's really something
yeah.
that it gives it a very different tone to a lot of different shows. I mean, it reminds me a lot of Deca Ranger there, where it's obviously, it's you got the detective and you've got the cop elements. And it's,
I see what you mean.
Dealing with very heavy subjects and very serious matters. Like murder and crime and blah blah blah. All this dark stuff, but the characters are these energetic kind of goofballs who are just playing up, cracking jokes, making stupid.
You get the comedy. You get the comedy.
It's a very lighthearted. It's a very
Yeah.
lighthearted take on this kind of you'd expect a detective kind of show to be it's grim and it's serious, but not here. They're just kind of goofing off and cracking jokes and making faces and stuff.
If all the wind towers in all the world, she had to walk into mine.
And that's basically how Shotaro tries to talk all the time, and then he runs into a post or somebody says something stupid and makes fun of him.
I love this. I love Shotaro. He's honestly like, if we're just talking main writers as characters, he's like top 5. He's so fucking great.
And I want to see him in more stuff, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, well, I mean that's a good segue. There's because of the gimmick where there's the 2-in-1. It makes bringing him back difficult because you have his other half, Philip, there.
But let's go on. Sorry.
I guess the nicest way to put it, he's super smart, but he's super autistic because he's got a. I mean, I don't want to put it like that, but he's got a.
To be fair, that's not a bad way to.
As somebody who has
as
somebody who's also very quiet at times and is bookwormish as well, I can kind of I know what you guys are saying and I see it in him.
Well, Phil, the thing is,
you
might be a bit of we're all kind of bookwormish, but tell me the last time you ever got so insanely into something that you were literally depriving yourself and sweating yourself until you were the weight of a fly.
Yeah, that's kind of what I meant there. Is that Philip is obviously he's super smart, but he's
I think
he's got amnesia. It's an amnesia plot again, as I love to mention that I hate, but it's done well because again it's not really that important to the plot. So Philip is he's super smart, but he's book smart, but he knows about science and all this stuff because he's got this. I don't remember what the Gaia library. Basically. He's got all of the knowledge on the planet.
The internet.
Yeah, he's basically got the internet in his head. He can look up anything in the universe and he'll just know it.
But he doesn't know how to talk to a girl.
He doesn't have memories about anything or anything. So he'll just randomly find out about something stupid and he'll get super hyper fixated into it and becomes obsessed with it. And drops everything he's doing to focus on it. That's kind of what I meant.
That really is how somebody with ADHD and somebody with autism actually does act. They get very they get so focused on something that they don't realize everything around them. And I like that touch.
Well, yes, that's what I meant there. Is that he portrays those symptoms and kind of not necessarily intentionally there where. Obviously he'll just he'll be trying to figure out the case, and then somebody mentions something offhand. He's like, "Oh, what the hell is that?" And he dropped everything, and he starts looking up random shit about soccer or takoyaki or weightlifting or dogs or whatever the hell. He'll just start going on tangents about it, and that's where the comedy comes in.
It's great.
You've got the ultra serious but totally inept detective, and the super smart but super one-track mind, hyper fixated genius there. And then they're the same person fighting the crime together. And, it's a little bit of wacky. It's a bit of an odd couple type of thing there.
They basically need each other. They basically need each other.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the perfect way to put this show. They're two sides of one person, but that's basically because they complete each other in a way. And that's something that really plays into the shows.
And the transformations, you look at do you mind if I mention Fang for a second before we move on?
Well, I was actually getting into the transformation stuff too.
But should we talk about characters first?
Well, no, this is still technically a character, so you can go with it.
You look at when the two of them transform, Shotaro is always the one who gets the suit, while Philip is knocked out. It's a side effect. However, when Fang goes into there, which is arguably more powerful, it's Philip who gets the suit, and Shotaro is the one who's knocked out. And I like that because Philip is always very mild-mannered and very laid back and, well, very hyper-focused. But when he's in Fang, he's letting out all of his unbridled anger, and it is just, it's beautiful. I love it. I love it.
See, it's funny because when you mention transformations, it plays into the show a lot because the entire show, and this kind of started. It ended at Forze, but this kind of started the two show theme of extreme homoeroticism.
Oh dear God.
And it's true because it was way more in O's. Let's be fair here.
Oh yeah.
They didn't get to write in each other's faces wet on a beach levels. That's a whole other. That's beyond Rocky 3 and Apollo 3, okay? So let's be honest. But like they do have like this very like strong like brotherly bond where it's like towards the end of the show where when they're beginning to get their final form, which is extreme, it becomes a thing of like, okay, they have to work together because if one is basically not in the right mindset, they can't transform anymore. And it's even a thing of like where, what do you call it? It's even a thing of where like one of the characters in the show basically tells them, no, well, you can't use this form because he's too stupid or he's not ready, he's not strong enough. And it takes them learning, well, yeah, we do have flaws, we do kind of fuck up, but that's kind of what makes us us. And that's what really lets them become, well, that final form, and lets them become stronger in a sense. And I like that idea. I've always liked that, 'cause especially with this 2-rider-in-1 idea where it's like, well, you do have to have cooperation, because if not, well, you'd kind of be screwed.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And that's it really lends to the characters there, where you know, I already forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind, cut that part. No. Yeah, and it's never mind.
Well, I was actually gonna go off from there because a big theme that isn't, again, this isn't smacked over your head, and we'll get into it more with the other characters as well. It isn't bashed over your head. Is a theme of and there's a fucking song in the show named after it, guys. If you don't get it by that point, I don't know.
WX body.
No, it's Nobody's Perfect.
Oh yeah.
Best song.
That song basically like encapsulates the entire show's theme. Like, yeah, like everybody in this show is a flawed character to a sense. Like everybody, and everybody in this show, like hero-wise, learns to cope and live with that. And I like that idea in the show. I love that idea because it's a good message for kids, like to show like, yeah, people are different, but that's not a bad thing. And I like that. I love that idea. You know, among McGruff the crime dog saying say no to drugs, but, that's another thing. That's another thing.
Only you can prevent Gaia memories from going onto the streets.
Pretty much.
I'm Smokey the Bear.
Sadly, we'll never see Double again because, well.
Yeah. Suda unfortunately got the popularity more than Kiriyama at least, and that's why we're never going to see Double or Phil.
Well, there was a way we could have gotten. There was one way. They did establish it. It's a different. Should we mention the Lost Driver?
Well, we'll mention that towards the end.
There was a way.
Yeah,
when we get into the
we'll talk about that in the plot, though.
Yeah, this is characters right now.
Yeah.
Well, actually, speaking of characters, let's move on to a very, let's say, polarizing figure when it comes to this show.
Don't ask me questions.
What's her name again?
Akiko.
I can't remember her name anymore.
Akiko.
There you go. I want to say Akari, but that's a different show entirely.
No. That's the other worst female character. Oh! No, yeah. So Akiko is their quote-unquote boss. She's the mentor's daughter, and she takes over because he's missing, quote-unquote.
He's fucking dead.
He's dead.
Jay.
He's dead. He dies in the first episode, but he's not
shot.
dead until the movie. Yeah. Well, we don't know he's dead yet.
I don't know many people who basically. I don't know many people who basically go, when they get shot in the back by a fucking, like, basically an anti-tank rifle.
Jesus.
I mean, it's Koji Kakawa. I mean, you know, have you seen that man?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that guy eats, like, he pretty much eats bullets. And,
He
like,
looks like
sea of mercury.
He looks like he does.
He's a
But
Mishima
no, yeah,
Heihachi. He can eat metal.
But no, yeah,
Heihachi
she is
Mishima.
a very polarizing character because she is, well, I'll just put it like this. She is obnoxious as hell and does nothing. She is...
That's the thing that's kind of annoying about her, though. She has points where she... I feel like they were going to give her something. Like remember that episode? I think everybody remembers the episode specifically when she started mirroring her own father in a way, where it's like... It felt like they were going somewhere.
Yeah, the one episode that she tries to solve a case on her own. Well, I guess technically one of two, but really the only one she actively does anything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And, you know, she not only does she fucking solve the case by accident, she spends the entire time making an ass out of herself. But that's really the thing, is that she wouldn't really be so bad if it wasn't for... She's just so annoying.
The thing is, they're trying to make her the comic relief when the thing is, every character in this show has comic relief in them.
It's not even just that. It's also
really just her voice. Like, she's fine when she's talking normally, but the second she raises her voice, it's nails on a chalkboard. And it's all the fucking time with her. She's just screaming. And it's like, I want to kill myself.
You know what it is? And especially for me, it's that generic cutesy wootsy anime voice I hear a lot that just disgusts me. I hate that just generic voice, and she does that a lot, screaming, and it's just. And see, the thing is, I don't mind her too much a lot of the time, but when she gets really annoying, she gets really annoying.
Like, she wouldn't be as bad if it weren't for the fact that she didn't have the worst possible voice. Because that's really my problem with her, is that she doesn't really do anything. She constantly, like, belittles and mocks Shotaro every time he does anything. No matter how much good shit he does, he's constantly getting shit on by her. She's constantly hitting him over the head with a fucking shoe. For some reason. I don't know why. It's like she's a Mexican grandmother.
Maybe she's just jealous
of... Is that racist
Sandal?
for me to say? Because I'm white? I don't know.
Maybe
I don't really care. I know that's a thing that people say.
I get the feeling she might be jealous because Shotaro was around longer with her father than she was with him.
But it's not even...
I mean, that could have been a thing, but it was never even mentioned.
Yeah, that's the thing. If that was, like, the angle they went with, I mean, I'd be fine with it then. I mean, obviously, you know, it's still... Cut them some slack after a point. But it's still, like... They never really, like, give her a reason why. It's just that she's just an asshole to him for no reason.
Yeah.
I get it.
And see, the thing is, again, she calms down towards the ending of the show. But again, it doesn't kind of... It really... At that point, it doesn't rectify all the shit that she does to him. Because, like... Again, when I was watching... Again, I don't mind her as much. But there's a point where I'm just like... Okay, I understand there's something there that you don't like about him. But the guy's saving your fucking ass on a daily basis, lady. Cut him some slack.
He's the one paying the bills.
It's not even that, like, she, like, starts treating him better. She just, like, stops being an asshole. She's still, like, making fun of him and stuff too, but it's, you know, she's not constantly being up his ass about how useless he is.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that's the thing I don't like.
See, again, I didn't mind her to the point where I hated her, but again, I didn't like her either. You know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah, it's not like I
wish
hate
we
her.
could have done something with her.
I just wish she did. It wasn't like... She has no development, I guess is the best way to say it. She really does
you
not
know what
develop.
She has, bringing back the Mexican grandmother analogy, she has the Vicky Guerrero screech. She fucking does, doesn't she?
Oh, Lord. Oh, fuck, that was not the
Someone's gonna have to edit her, like, yelling "excuse me" into that. That would be... let's do that. Get on that.
But
that'd be amazing.
But yeah, I mean, that's really the problem. I think that's why she's such kind of a divisive character. Is that she's she's annoying, and two, she's just kind of a static character overall. It's not that she's bad. I don't hate her. It's just that she doesn't really contribute anything, and the few times she does, she doesn't really learn anything. Like there's.
And see, the thing is, you can even argue her contributions are, honestly, merely accidental in nature most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you brought that up. There's the one episode where she breaks into the villain's mansion to solve the case that's completely unrelated to the fact that the villains, for some reason, I don't know, that was a weird case anyways. And she spends the entire time basically just being herself, bumbling around, and she solves the case by accident because she accuses the wrong person, and then the criminal reveals themselves anyways because of something she offhandedly mentioned. I'm, of course, summing up 2 episodes into, one sentence there, but that's basically how it happens, is that she solves the case by accident,
Yeah.
Not even intending to do it, and she still somehow takes the glory for it, and, obviously, okay, she did solve the case, but she doesn't really grow from it, she doesn't really learn anything from her experiences, because she's like, if Shotaro can do it, I can too, and then she realizes, oh, I'm way over my head, but still treats him like shit and still thinks she's top dog. Basically.
I feel like
that's really what I hate.
I feel like they were trying to set something up, like we said, but they never really remembered to give her anything to do.
If they had gone with the angle that you had mentioned, that maybe she was resentful at Shotaro because you spent more time with my father than I did. If they had set that up, or if they even had hinted at it, I don't think I would have been so annoyed at her, because at least I would have understood something.
Because they mention it. They mentioned it a couple times where she I barely knew my dad. He was always off on work, and we were never together. And of course, fucking Sanjo retconned it to some weird explosive spider bullshit in the Skull movie. Let's not talk about movie war core right now because it's gonna get me mad, like always. But no. Because they mentioned it once or twice that she I never really knew my dad, I never really got to spend time with him, blah blah blah. He was always kind of distant, and like you said there, it would have been a perfect way to kind of give her a reason to just be such a shit to Shotaro all the time, and then they never do anything with it, and she's just an asshole.
Hell, you could even say she would if you didn't want to go for that angle, you could even make it okay, maybe she's just an asshole to him because she didn't grow up with a father, and she never had that fatherly figure, so she just kind of grew up really rebellious, towards her own mother or something. You could even say that, that's a story as old as time you could have put in there. I don't know. I feel like she could have been done better, but let's go on to a character that was done better. Let's get on to our secondary writer of the evening.
One of the best secondary writers ever, Ryu Terui. Kamen Rider XL,
AKA
Axel, I don't know.
AKA Kamen Rider Punch.
AKA
Kamen Rider Police Brutality.
AKA Kamen Rider. We brought back in Chase Saga because Drive's actor really likes him.
I mean,
everybody really likes Axel, man.
I mean, Riku Sanjo would have brought him back anyways because he's obsessed with continuity.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah.
You know what? Zio is his fault. I'm gonna say it right now. Zio is his fault.
We'll get to Zio later.
We've got a couple more weeks before Zio. Actually, speaking of, it's rather coincidental we're doing this now because it's almost been 10 years exactly since the first episode. Actually, it's almost been 9 years since the show ended, even, but obviously, the whole 1 year cycle.
I feel old.
Honestly, it's just funny to me because we say Ryu Terui punches everything, but that's more him in the V cinema. In the show, to a certain
in the
point,
show, it's more Ryu Terui tries to murder everyone with his sword.
The one that he can't pick up unless he's transformed.
That's my favorite part.
You really should just rename him Kamen Rider Anger Man. He should be played by Jack Nicholson.
No! We don't need that!
But
I know that's a reference to all of our
fuck.
friends. Totally.
I just got that. No.
Wait, what did he say?
Never mind. But no, Terui's kind of this great parallel early on to Shotaro, where Shotaro is this, this fun-loving but well-meaning kind of doofus, where Terui's this grim, big asshole. He's don't ask me questions. I'm all serious all the time. I guess the best way to put it, he's the Batman to Shotaro's Spider-Man. I know obviously it's DC and Marvel there, but it was the best comparison I could think of.
Terui has manlet disease without being.
You know what? All Japanese have manlet disease. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh, they're all the bagel dude.
No.
Like boys, don't ask me questions. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah,
What are you looking at?
Shotaro's a detective. He's a cop. Shotaro wants to help people. Terui wants to fucking murder all the criminals because they're dopants. Because he's insane.
No, he has a reason.
His first episode, he tries to murder somebody.
No, he does. Like, he has a reason, but like when you put it that way, and when you realize how true it is, it's fucking hilarious. It's like, yeah, he really just wants to kill people.
He really does.
That's the thing, is that his whole motivation, obviously, and he's got the "my parents are dead" thing, and that's why it said Batman. He's like, my parents were killed by a dopant, and they used a specific memory. So I'm going to try to murder all of the dopants in their human forms anyways, just to be sure. And it's even after he finds out who the real one is, he still just keeps trying to murder random people. Because he's crazy.
Well, the thing is, I think we know who it is, but he doesn't know.
Suicides like the real cops.
I think we know who the dopant is, but he doesn't.
Well, no, I mean,
it's like you said, like even at that point, like even when he knows who it is,
because that's the thing, is that
fucking kill everybody.
He finds out who the guy who killed his parents was almost immediately after he debuts, but he still just keeps trying to murder random people. I get it, they were dopants, they're criminals, but he's still trying to kill them with a sword here. It's a little crazy.
It's great. It's great. It's like, oh man, my parents were killed by a John 5 years ago. I gotta kill every Stacy I see. It's like that's basically his reasoning.
Pretty much.
It's basically his reasoning at that point.
And
it's
so there's
hilarious, man.
There's a little bit of clashing there early on. Not necessarily later, but still early on, where he's like, fuck this stupid city, fuck this stupid dopant shit, fuck crime, fuck Kamen Rider, I'm just gonna kill all these people. And Shotaro has to tell him, you're a cop, you shouldn't be randomly killing people, even if they're criminals. I get it, that's kind of the thing, but still, calm down, buddy, alright? Take your job a little less seriously.
I just... See, even at that point, like his character does go through one of the most organic changes in the entire show, and you can say like, well, he didn't change that. He changed quite a bit, because at the end of the show, he wasn't just trying to randomly decapitate people. He calmed down. He got a wife,
Yeah, he fucking hooked up with Akiko, with all fucking characters, and I don't know why. It kind of came out of left field. I'll be honest. Their whole relationship just didn't ever make any sense. Whatever.
To be fair, maybe that was a way of like really calming down his anger management. Like maybe she was so annoying that like he just made him go from angry to just completely depressed and nihilistic. Like, I'm banging this. I got nothing to live for.
No. But yeah, I mean, he does honestly go through one of the more natural character changes through the show, where he starts off as kind of this big asshole, revenge is my only emotion and my only motivation, and he starts to learn from Shotaro and the others. He's like, okay, maybe this city's not too bad. Maybe there's more to being this whole Kamen Rider thing. And eventually he gets his revenge and all that, and he's like, well, I'm already on a different path. I might as well just keep going here. Revenge is kind of stupid anyways. And it's obviously...
he went from revenge is kind of epic to revenge is really lame.
Revenge is the only thing I need to. Maybe I was kind of dumb trying to murder every random criminal with a sword.
It shows. It just goes to show you, no matter how angry you are, it just takes a crumb of coochie to really calm you down.
Who would have guessed all the shit posters telling you to get laid or just being honest, you know?
They were giving you good mental advice.
Oh. No, yeah. And honestly, that's
honestly, I like his character in the sense that he really did, like we said before, he went through such an organic change that even you as an audience member don't really notice it until like it fully takes like fold, where it's just like, oh wow, he used to be just a complete dick, but now he's having dinner with these people now, like they're friends, and wow.
Yeah, they become actual friends, and he hangs out with them like beyond like, okay, we have a case, I need your help, dipshit. I mean, obviously,
like he'll
he's
randomly
still
show up at their headquarters too.
Yeah, obviously, he's still a grim, emotionless, don't ask me questions kind of prick, but he's nice, he's their friend, he definitely grows his character and he changes, and it's all nice.
It's like
and
you
fun.
said, he toned himself.
He stopped murdering people.
Well, again, like he went from go fuck yourself to all right, I'll take you out for a drink today. Like it's honestly, I feel like in just the show alone, he's probably one of the better secondaries because, again, you don't really, especially nowadays, and look at fucking guys, like you don't. Is it guys or gays?
Gays. That's how they pronounce it, as gays.
Well, all right then. I thought the only gays were in the
It's spelled Gates, but they pronounce it. But they pronounce it as Gates.
Really good. I don't know. Yeah. But anyways, but like when you look at like secondary writers recently, you don't really get that much of a change. Like you have their personality, and that's it. Like you can even look at Banjo. Banjo didn't change in build. He was still a hot-headed dumbass the entire time. Really.
Yeah.
And at least with this one, he went from, again, as we keep saying, I'm going to kill literally everything to.
I mean, like I said, he's his core personality of being this overly blunt, no nonsense, grim sourpuss, still there. But he grows as a character. He learns how to have fun. He learns how to not be such an asshole. He learns to respect and treat everybody else well. And it's fun, and it's a nice and realistic character progression over the show.
Yeah,
and
I will suggest if you want more on our. I was gonna say if you want more on our thoughts on Terui, just go watch our podcast on fucking the V Cinema. That gives you everything at that point.
Yeah. And honestly, I guess the best way to kind of put his character progression is compare his very first line in the series to one of his very last, where in his very first episode he says, "I hate the city sucks," and in the very last episode he's like, "I love the city is perfect." More or less, obviously that's not the direct translation, but that's kind of the best way to kind of summarize his progression there. You look at him beginning and look at the end, and he's like a completely different character. Great. He still acts more or less the same way, but he's overall a different character.
I think we can get to just basically the extra characters. I mean, we've got our bundle of extra. Like we'll get to the extras and then we'll get to the villains. Because the villains is that's when we get to Alabama.
Obviously, it's a detective show. You've got to have the informants. You got to have the random streetwise people that the detective knows.
Your contacts.
Things that help the case. Yeah, the irregulars.
Santa Claus.
Yeah, there's Santa. There's a guy who just dresses as Santa.
There's two idols.
Don't ask questions. Look, guys, if you're gonna sit here and ask questions about why some random bald dude who looks like the singer from is the Bafuku Jump or something like that. I think that's the band's name, the bald dude. If you're gonna ask questions, don't, because it's not gonna get answered.
Yeah.
You've got two ex-members of AKB48 who are only in like 3 episodes. Naturally, because they're former idols. You've got.
Should we mention their names?
I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll do
Queen and Elizabeth.
Yeah, pretty much. And the and
that's some pretty galaxy brain thinking.
oh, I even got a better one in the A to Z film. The three Gaia memories that they find, the letters on them translate to AKB. Get it? Because they're part of AKB48.
You know
it's
what?
even worse
Toei
because
does it again with their amazing jokes.
It's even worse because Akiko is even like AKB. Huh? What a coincidence! I wonder what that stands for. What a weird coincidence! Those three specific ones. I wonder what they associate with.
Sanjo, the master of subtlety.
Then you have I think his name was like Watcher Man or something. It's honestly he's kind of just like a weirdo. He's like, oh, you know, he's always doing like coupons or like weird shit, like contests. He's got like a blog, and honestly, his character is a whole lot less funny if you know.
He's the guy from Missing Ace?
No, well, maybe.
He's got his own blog.
Oh, now I get what you mean. Yeah,
no one's gonna get that joke when they listen to this. I'm sad.
Maybe. He gets the most screen time aside from Shotaro's cop friends, and they're kind of one note. He's got the one cop friend who, you know, he's got the experienced cop.
He does that.
You know, well, kind of, yeah. He's got the experienced veteran cop friend and his hot-headed rookie sidekick. You know, the veteran, he's best friends with Shotaro, and he gives him advice on cases, and the rookie's always an asshole to Shotaro. That's how it is. And there's Watcher Man, who
was
is...
he an asshole? I don't even remember him being that much of an asshole to him.
It happens more in the earlier episodes, where he's like, hey, what the hell are you doing here? You're not allowed here. And I think his name was like Jino. He had the back scratcher. That was his thing. He had a back scratcher.
Yeah,
he's like, just say fuck it, he's fine. And then
the cast grows a little bit, like, gradually. Like, then we get the magician and his granddaughter, if I remember correctly, who is
Hurricane Blue.
Granddaughter, Hurricane Blue. Yeah. She only ever appears like
I'm
once.
not usually one to steal Phil's gimmick, but this girl's got legs for days. That's all you need to know.
Dude,
I ain't one to steal gimmicks here, but I got it for this one.
Do you remember what she was like in Forza, where she was just doing high kicks all the fucking time? Dude.
Look, a man's got to be a man sometimes. When you use your wallet, when you forget things at home, and when you see a goddamn nice pair of legs, you just gotta admire it.
And I've seen a lot of legs in Rider series.
Oh yeah, you can see him do the kicks.
And Toku, for that matter. And Toku, and Sentai, for that matter.
I was gonna say something about what's his name, Watcher Man, the weird guy. He gets the most screen time, and he's a fine character. It's just when you know more about his actor's kind of like life story, he stops really being funny. It's a bit. It's not that bad, but it's. I'll just put it like this: Japanese game shows are fucked up. Look up his actor. I think his name was Nasumi.
Oh.
Just
is he
look
the guy
up.
Who got thrown into a fucking washing machine.
No, even worse.
Oh no.
Just look up his actor.
I'm looking it up.
His Nasumi. It's really kind of fucked up. It's not like anything super like, oh, they were like fucking poking him with sticks all day, you know. It's kind of it's a little dark. It goes places.
That image is great.
And it kind of makes him not as funny to watch, which is a shame because he gets the most screen time out of most of them.
Yeah, besides that, I think that's all the side characters. I mean, is there anyone we're missing? Besides, there are not just, random one-offs.
That's pretty much it. Everybody else is really one-offs or not really worth mentioning. Then
let's get to the villains.
There's the ramen cart guy. That's about it. He doesn't really.
Well, see, ramen's always good to mention.
Well, we have the villains and the Sonozakis. They're the big obvious. They're the big crime family. They're the ones running everything. They're the king.
Well, before anything, we gotta mention Nazca, the bro.
Dude,
our bro.
Kirihiko is a bro. He did not deserve what he got. I mean, I get it. He was selling drugs. He probably has killed at least one or two people.
Yeah, so
but he didn't deserve what he got.
Overdoses doesn't make someone not a bro.
Honestly, he loved that city.
What? He was selling cocaine. Who cares?
Listen,
Who hasn't done a line?
I'm reading what happened to Watcher Man's actor, and oh my god.
yeah, it's
But,
it goes places.
But yeah, with
Kirihiko,
Nazca,
man, the story of Nazca in the show is, it's really just an important life lesson. Don't stick your dick in crazy, kids. All right?
It may be beautiful, but it ain't worth it.
It is not worth it.
It's weird when you say that because this show has so many life lessons. You know, don't do drugs.
Don't do drugs.
Nobody's perfect. Don't stick your dick in crazy. You know, it's a show for the kids. It's a show for the family. It's about family.
It's a family picture.
Oh, did you really go there, Jay?
Well, it kind of is about family because, well, the villains are all one big.
And then they show a naked guy's ass.
Yeah. Well, you get to see his ass like 3 times in the show, and God damn,
Rika Sanjo really likes his ass.
Well,
man ass too, honestly, and that's the best part.
But yeah, like.
You know
I
what's
don't
the weird
Nazca
part
himself
is that you get to see his ass completely uncensored, but with fucking X-Aid, they had to wait until the movie to show Dan's ass. I don't know. I guess his ass was just worth the price of admission to the movie.
No, but like like Nazca himself, it's weird because Nazca is basically the best template of. They ended it just at the point where you would want more, but also at the point where they know they couldn't go any more with him.
He's
Like,
the
they
best
know, okay,
first
if
arc
we go any
villain
more, we would
because
drag it out.
he realizes he doesn't die because of he loses the dumb toy beam struggle whatever thing. He just goes in over his head. He's like, oh, you know what? Maybe I made a mistake getting involved with these people, and then he gets killed. He knows too much. He goes too far, and he's like, you know what? You guys are too crazy for me. I quit. You can't quit from the mafia, kids. Well, unless you do, but that's neither here nor there.
You can't quit from the mafia until you do.
Yeah. Well,
honestly, the again, it's pretty good. I mean, his entire arc is, at the end, you almost feel really, really bad. Like, again, he's a villain. He's selling drugs and all that, but you feel bad about him. You feel bad for him because, like Jay said, he just went over his head. That's really all he did.
He's trying.
In reality, he didn't do anything too much.
He was trying to do something for his city. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah, he fell for the bait of, oh, the Gaia members are trying to help people and help the city and make humanity evolve. And he fell too hard for that bait and he got too far in. And by the time he realized it, it was just too late, man. It's a shame because, honestly, the best way to put it, he's like anti-Shotaro, where they both just really love their city and want to see it improve and do whatever they want for it. But Kirihiko, man, he's doing the wrong thing there. Yeah, it's what a shame.
As we said before, kids, just don't stick your dick in crazy.
Just stop.
Don't.
Get some help.
There's better fish out there.
That's nasty.
Got it.
Anyways,
the main,
onto the Sonozaki family.
The actual main villains there. The Sonozaki family, they're alright. They're a little bit static overall for most of the show. They're just kind of the generic evil crime family. You've got, the Kingpin, the dad.
Terror.
Ryubei, I think his name was. Terror.
The man, the oldest man to ever be old in Japan's history.
Where he's kind of got that inherent air of like, oh, he's kind of fun, and he's, he's just a cool old guy. He might be, a criminal kingpin, he's fun. And then you actually, hear him talk, and he's like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. He's going to murder everyone.
He's got that voice where it's like, it's not a super deep, booming voice, but it resonates, and it's really damn ugh.
Yeah.
Fucking creepy.
Honestly,
That
it's not even that he's necessarily creepy. It's just he's kind of got that, I guess, fatherly tone to his voice there. And then once you combine it with the fact that he's a total fucking psychopath, it amplifies that part well. Because I've seen him in other shows where he's still playing this fatherly type figure, but he's a good guy. It still fits his character perfectly. Obviously, of course,
Gaiden.
Knowing him from Double, it's kind of hard to trust him inherently, but you get the point.
I mean, once you see him in this show, you never want to trust that cunt again.
No, yeah. Then you got
you got. I'm gonna call them by what they're all what they
their memories.
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, I'm gonna call them by their memories because I don't 100% remember all of their names. You know, you got Clay Doll.
That's Wakana.
The youngest.
Wakana. She's
Wakana,
yeah. You got Sayako, who's Taboo.
Yeah, she's Taboo, and then she becomes
she's
Nazca again.
Oh wait,
yeah.
Jay, you're telling me that Sayako was Psycho?
Fuck.
Go home, AJ.
I got it in there. The pun train keeps.
It just derailed.
No, she's. I don't really know what's the best way to explain her. She's kind of the generic, like, overachieving older sibling who's, you know, in charge of everything. She's kind of like the second command of, I guess, is the best way to put it.
She does grow, though.
She's kind of got, like, middle child. I was going to say, she's kind of got, like, middle child syndrome, but she's not a middle child, which is
the weird part, because the actual middle child is the obligatory, I'm actually good, I don't want to be involved in this crime shit, except for when I'm going to kill somebody.
Is Wakana.
Wakana, Clay Doll. You know, she's the weirdo.
The cutesy.
Oh, I'm popular, I'm famous, I have a radio show, and everybody loves me. You know, fucking Shotaro Philip and everybody else listen to her show all the time.
I'm cute! Look at my face!
Princess of the city! Pretty much.
Just to note right now, I'm about to click the
No!
button so we can finally talk about this.
Well,
and it's clicked, so let's talk about this.
So yeah,
with her specifically.
Well, I guess we'll just drop that spoiler right here now. As the show reveals, Philip is a part of the Sonozaki family. You know, it's the big twist of his character right at the end of the show, and they hint at it early on. I think like Shroud first tells him she's his mom.
Yeah.
And you have Sayako knowing her name.
Well,
and, you know,
well, see, the thing is, the funny part about that, Jay, is they didn't think of telling him before he ran away to make 11-toed babies with his sister.
Yeah,
but he didn't know. They didn't even know.
No, but
well, I mean,
he was this close of getting on that fucking train and moving away to whatever Japan's version of Alabama.
It's Okinawa.
I don't want to say Osaka because that's something further north from
Hokkaido.
There's Osaka north south. I don't remember near like the tips of Japan.
I'm gonna have to find an Enka version of Sweet Home Alabama, and I hope it exists.
But again,
anyway,
they didn't know. They didn't know that they were brother and sister.
Well, neither did the audience. But yeah, that's
true. Because like when you get into it, right? When you get into like their little thing.
Well, I guess we should explain why we're reacting so strong.
I want to explain this because this is funny.
Okay.
So boys and girls, sometimes it's good to check that maybe you're not just, oh, it's a coincidence we have the same last names, because that chick you're banging might just be your sister, which is what happened here. Because Phil and Wakana have this strange little semi-romance through most of the show when they start talking to each other, because Phil is a fan of her radio show. And small town, small world. So they started getting chummy, basically.
A lot of it comes from
where
she helps. You know, they help her with a case early on, and she becomes obviously she blows off Shotaro because he's not important. You know, but Philip, he's the one who knew all the answers and helped her. So she becomes obsessed with him, and it becomes sort of this budding relationship.
They get a little lovey-dovey to the point where she's like, "Let's just leave. Let's just go off somewhere forever."
Yeah, let's just avoid this whole Kamen Rider bullshit, this whole dopant shit. Let's just run off to the country and live together. And they are this close to doing it, and then we find out, oh, we're related.
Even more so, we're brother and sister.
It's that fucking verse from that Weird Al song where it's like, should I just go ahead and propose and have kids propose?
Tell me how was I supposed to know we were both related? I hate that song.
That song's gonna be stuck in my head. That song's gonna be stuck in my head now.
And I guess that's the fine part, is that even immediately after he learns that, Philip goes up there. He's like, "Hey, listen, you know, we kind of shouldn't be doing this anymore. This is kind of fucked up." And then, she tries to murder him because she goes full villain.
Oh,
at
it's
that
cool.
point.
I'm just on the pill. Don't worry.
Oh, AJ, no.
Bad.
But the weird thing is that Wakana is not the only one who has the hots for Philip. Apparently, Elizabeth.
Weird,
Yeah,
right?
Elizabeth apparently has the hots for him too, but it's very, very rare. It's very so minuscule that you if you blink, you notice it. You miss it.
Yeah,
Hey,
one
man,
of the,
you show a girl your Thomas the Tank Engine collection one time. You never let her leave.
Yeah, because she's never gonna come back.
Oh,
to somebody that's a literal collection. No. Yeah, so it kind of makes the show a little awkward, a little creepy in retrospect, especially knowing it going into the show, because I know where this is going. This is
right?
this is
Once you know that twist, it makes that whole entire subplot just kind of make you like.
It's that sudden realization of, oh my god, this is so fucked. 7 Ways to Sunday.
That's the I think I don't even know, I don't know why, but I feel like they were playing that for comedy or something, because when they tell you this, they are like a minute away from just leaving off somewhere to some hill country or something to just be with each other. Like if that revelation came just a second late, fucking 3-eyed babies would be running around. It'd be insane.
And I suppose that's. I mean, I was gonna say something else for that, but they don't really play it for comedy. There's obviously the drama aspect there, but it's the sheer timing there, and it's so fucking weird, and it's uncomfortable. Who would have expected that Riku MD Geist Sanjo would have run in something so fucking disturbing and weird, huh? Jeez, who saw that?
You would expect this from Inoue.
You would expect it from Inoue.
You would.
Inoue's the guy who wrote
I
time travel
just want
horseshit.
to imagine Sanju just went up to Inoue. He's like, Inoue, I don't even want to write this episode. Can you do it for me? Sure. What do I do? They're in a relationship and they're gonna run off. Oh, cool. So I can just do whatever I want. Yeah, sure. Just don't do anything too stupid.
We made them. You made them siblings. Yeah, we did.
They do foreshadow it pretty heavily throughout the show, but it's never to the point where you put 2 and 2 together until they outright say, "Oh, by the way, you're a Sonodaki." And it's,
I just want to imagine the day the episode aired, Sanjo's just like, what the fuck? It's like, what? My original plan was to make Wakana dude. It was either that or this.
Oh, that definitely wouldn't fly.
Oh, that would have been a fucking weird twist.
Yeah, she's all woman, but she's got the male parts.
She's all woman to a point. That would have been
a big point.
That would have been too much even for Inoue. I don't even think Inoue would go that far. I'm gonna be honest. To be fair,
I'm surprised he hasn't done that yet with the shit he's pulled in any of these novels or anything. I feel like
when you put it like that,
he put rape in one of them. He put the rape of a character in one of them.
This is true.
I'm sure had Toei not realized that, oh, he's nuts, we should probably stop hiring him, he probably would have gotten that point eventually.
You know what? I guarantee you, if Exe was done today, that enough said. Anyways,
but what was I gonna say?
We're still the villains.
It makes it a little weird, and I guess it's kind of fitting because she goes completely psychotic and becomes a full villain
and has access to the Gaia library apparently.
Yeah, and that makes it a little creepy too. Is that she ends up getting access to the Gaia library stuff that Philip has. She starts dicking around in his mind palace.
I'm gonna be honest. That actually was quite creepy when I first saw Double years ago. That her having access to the one thing that actually would help them was kind of terrifying.
I guess it helps
because
they do.
At this point, you already know, and she pretty much can go crazy at any moment. Where it's just like, man, she can fuck you up so bad from in there.
And they use that a lot too, where it's like every episode there's, oh, here's something new that she's throwing a wrench into. It's like, oh, her just showing up in general is enough to fucking like, oh crap, I can't do this, I can't be here. And then she starts being able to fuck with the books and just like do whatever the hell she wants there and screwing up their plans. And it's always like, okay, how do I trick her to actually get what I need and not have to deal with her?
Right? Besides them, because I think Wakana was pretty much the one that we had the most with. I mean, let's be honest. In general, she had the most significance because, I mean, she was directly involved with the main writer, at least the one half of them for the.
But Psycho had some growth.
Yeah, well,
Psycho had growth. She went from being a lieutenant.
She ends up betraying the organization, and then she goes completely nuts.
Well, she had her doubts. She started realizing that, okay, my dad's a little nuts. She had I'm going to say air quotes relationship with an older man who is actually the dopant that killed Terui's family.
Yeah, Weather. He's just a weirdo serial killer.
He's just a weirdo.
I mean, to be fair,
go on. Sorry.
Personality-wise, he's kind of generic. He's just a crazy serial killer who's obsessed with the Gaia members. Like, there's a point where he rips open his shirt. He's got like because the whole thing is like, oh, you get a little port on your arm that you stick the memories into. And there's this one point where Weather rips his shirt open. He's got like 30 of them all over his body. And it's
a pretty creepy image, admittedly.
Honestly,
he wants to be the most powerful. He wants to be the most powerful dopant. And to be honest, his dopant form is actually really cool. I'm not gonna lie. It's actually my favorite.
Weather is a pretty good suit.
It's definitely one of the better ones, and I'm glad it got enough screen time to really enjoy it. And his whole motivation really was, I want to take out Sonozaki because he showed me his memory once, and I was so obsessed with the power that I want his power for my own. And he really contributes the most to the plot because he sets Sayako's whole like turn to not necessarily good, but kind of betrays her dad, and it kind of leans Wakana into becoming the full villain that she becomes, and it kind of sets up the entire end game of the show. But as a character, he's just crazy.
He's nuts.
And he's evil. And that's about it.
The only growth I can actually say is that right before he dies, and this is in the episode where we get to see Trial memory be put in for the first time, he says to Psycho, he says, I'd like to see your whole body, but not as the dopant version. And I love how he says like, he wants to put his dick in there, but he never gets to.
Oh, they fucking filmed the scene of them making out, but they never put it in.
Really?
I know this because they showed it. They showed it in one of the net movies. It was the one where it was Kirihiko and he comes back to life. He's like, I'm trying to find out who murdered me, and so he's talking to a bunch of the characters, and it's like a weird little like conga line of him getting beat up by all the villains. And there's a part where he's talking to Weather, and they show a cut scene where he goes full on tongue with Sayako there. And it's
oh my!
Wow.
Oh yeah, it's a little spicy.
I think we need to find that.
It's in the net movies. You can just
there's definitely a Gaia memory port that he wants to put his in there.
Well, that's another thing too. Is that I guess going briefly on that, there's a lot of footage that did get cut. There's a lot of editing that went on. Like they showed another one there where they showed a bit where they're testing Gaia memories on some guy. And, like, you don't see him do anything with it. But they filmed a shot of them, like, actually using the memory on him. And, you see his body start to, like, congeal and, like, get all fucked up. And he's, like, screaming in pain. And
I feel like a lot of the stuff in... I was going to say, I feel like a lot of stuff in this show was taken out because they were probably going less from that early Phase 1 Heisei mindset of this can go as dark as we want, to let's try and make it a little more for kids. Like, I think they took out a lot of that stuff because of that. I would love to see the scenes they took out, to see that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing there, is because you don't really think about that. Like they mention it once or twice in a lot of like the spin-off specials. They film a lot of footage and most of it doesn't get used, but they never really talk about like stuff that they cut because we can't put it on TV, or it's too much, or it's too dark, or whatever. And this is the few like times where we have that footage, and we know about it because they showed it in side material there, and it's really interesting to know, and it kind of makes you think, it makes you wonder what is there else that didn't get put in the show that was just too much. Yeah, Jinx, by the way.
And it's kind of left to your imagination, especially because like with something that. Honestly, this could have gone the way of extreme body horror really fast.
It could have gone Gantz level.
There's a little bit of it too in a couple of episodes. Like there's the one where you got the kids sharing the memories, and it's like, oh, they don't have the little connector port, so they rip it out, and there's just this big fucking scab on their arm, screaming in pain. Or there's like when weather.
I mean, come on, let's not forget the first episode with that fucking dinosaur. I mean, remember that fucking disgusting.
Oh.
God damn, that was gross.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was gross because it was 2009 CGI. It was gross because of the whole like the wires, and it's like scrap metal, and it's all fucked up. Ew. But no, there's also like when Weather dies, it's like all of like the ports on his body start expanding. He just like disintegrates, and it's oh god.
Yeah, you literally see him disintegrate and die. That is, or what about when Terui? Not Terui. When Terui gets basically mauled by Pterodopont in his monster form, or like an even bigger monster form. Oh yeah. You see him his body. You see his armor like wrecked, and then he untransforms. He's like mauled. He's bleeding everywhere.
He's like he's in a fucking wheelchair for the rest of the arc there.
Yeah, honestly, this is this show really didn't skimp out on some of, like, obviously it's not like early Heisei.
No, it never
guts everywhere, but
it never reaches like
violent.
Ryuki or Fai's levels of violence.
It does,
or even I don't want to necessarily say Kuga levels, because that's a whole other.
Well, level. We don't have them being. We don't have people stuffed in trees.
Is like the level where you go, where like if you want to like really want to scare someone.
No, you want to scare kids. How about being stuffed into a tree or drowning in the middle of land? That's Akito for you.
But
yeah.
But I think we can talk more about. Who are we missing? So we can talk more about like just the general plot, because I think.
That's the thing is that there really isn't too much in the overall plot. It's okay. Here's okay. We need to figure out who the organization is, and that's it. And we found out who the organization is, and we need to find a way to take them down. But we don't really. They don't really have a grander scheme beyond. We just want to sell the Gaia memories, and Ryubei Terror, he talks a bit about like he wants to guide humanity's evolution, and he doesn't really talk about it. And at like the very end of the show, he's like, "Oh, I wanna do a thing, and it's gonna like destroy the planet or something. I don't know. They never really." He's like, "I want to cause."
I'm going to do this evil plan.
I am going to enact the Gaia Impact, and he never explains what the Gaia Impact actually does or what it really is. I might have not been paying attention,
it's just a new brand of energy drink.
It really might be. It really just kind of comes out of left field. I mean, he doesn't really have any kind of grand plan, and there's really no overall plot beyond like, okay, we need to figure out who this is. The mystery about Philip there, and that's kind of amnesia plot here, as I mentioned. There's a little bit with.
Well, actually, in that sense, I was just gonna say, I think in that sense we can just. I'll let you finish your thought, but I was gonna say, like, after that, we can just essentially go into like we can go into like Suits music, and then we can talk about the ending, because
do we need to talk about Eternal?
Well, I forgot to mention Shroud, but she's not really that important overall until near the end.
Shroud I was gonna say jobs out.
She literally just quits. She just quits like 12 episodes before.
She's like, "Fuck this shit, I'm out. My family's already fucked up. I can't fix them."
Yeah,
she really does.
That's her. She's kind of the whole orchestrator behind the good guys. She's the. I don't know what's the best way to put it. I don't know. Yeah, I guess orchestrator of the whole. She sets everything up. She's the one who gave Skull the belt. She's the one who is trying to get Phil free to have him become the rider. She's the one who had fucking I forget his name. Terui's parents murdered by Weather because she gave Weather the memory for some fucking reason. I don't know why she thought that was a good idea. Fucking dumbass.
Yeah, let's give Michael Myers a fucking machine gun.
Her whole scheme was that she was trying to get Terui and Philip to like the best point because apparently they were the best compatibility. They were the most powerful rider. They would have had the most powerful form. Blah 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 blah. It's not really that important. It's kind of stupid.
I would have liked to have seen it though.
Well, you do have it in figure.
You do?
Form, so.
Yeah, you know what? That's the weirdest part is that a hypothetical form that's only on screen for like 3 seconds got a fucking figure out before.
Are you serious?
I'm not even joking.
fucking Christmas double. Christmas double.
Yeah, Shroud's really not all that important. I mean, she is, but she isn't.
At a certain point.
She literally, after I don't remember when. I think it was after Weather dies, or like right after it. She's literally like, you know what? I quit. I'm done with this.
She only came back like once, and that was when all of the Sonozakis were at the table.
Yeah, she comes back right near the end before the whole Gaia Impact shit, and then she dies the next episode, and whatever.
I think with that being said, we can.
Do we need to talk about Eternal, or is that for another day?
No, that's a movie.
I was gonna say Foundation X because we haven't talked about Foundation X yet. Even though they're
Foundation X. Now that's a
it's a thing that exists.
Well,
so guys, what is Foundation X? Well, let me explain it to you. It's Riku Sanjo showing that he likes continuity, and he's gonna make you like continuity, whether you like it or fucking not.
Well, it's not Sanjo. It was one of the producers. I don't remember his name. I think it was Tabata or something kind of similar to that. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. It was one of the producers' ideas where he kind of wanted the post-decade shows to kind of have an overarching continuity. There's Sanjo there, who's also obsessed with that. And he had Foundation X, which were, I guess, like, they were the new Shocker. They were a big criminal organization who were, they got their hands in everything, they're helping with the Gaia memories, and they mentioned them briefly being associated with Kogami and the core metal. They're not even in O's at all. They never even get... I still swear to God, they never mentioned them once in the show, and somebody can correct me.
They came out, dude.
They never once. I swear on my life.
No, they had a meeting between what's his name? Was it what's the guy's name from O's? Ares? Was it Ares or Capricorn? The main villain from O's.
You mean Dr. Mazaki?
That's Forze you're thinking of.
The principal, the main.
That's Forze.
That's Forze.
Or Forze, sorry, no, Forze, sorry, Forze.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about O's. They're not even in O's at all. Forze, they show back up in Forze.
They had a meeting, didn't they? They had a meeting with Kogami.
No.
Like,
I
it was
swear
like a
to God,
super brief thing.
I swear to God, and somebody can correct me on this, because I'm not going to skim through every fucking episode of O's just to prove this.
Oh, like
but
you need an excuse to rewatch O's.
Well, no, I don't need an excuse.
He'll watch O's either way.
I swear to God, they are not in O's at all. Beyond the point.
Okay, I just
beyond the point.
Them having like a very small cameo, like nothing big. They're just there. You know what I mean? But again, if somebody can show us, do it.
Beyond the point. We spent too long on that argument there. Beyond the point is that the producer's idea was that, I wanted to have this whole overarching villain organization for the post-decade shows. They were in Double. They were probably maybe not in O's. They showed up for a little bit in Forze, and then they never get mentioned again until the fucking crossover movie with Build and X8. And they get
dumb.
And then they don't do anything in it. Now, the reason why I've heard is that the specific producer who came up with the idea, I think he quit, or he was fired, or he's just stopped being involved. And nobody else really wanted to do anything with them. Which, not that I can blame them, but they just end up as this big...
after Megamax, there was no need.
I mean, yeah, but the whole idea is that there's this overarching villain group that kind of ties all the shows together, not necessarily in a way that matters. I mean, obviously, it would would cause problems, but they spend so much focus on them near the end of the show, and then they just never get mentioned again. Really, they're kind of just not important. Which is a shame.
It was this type of thinking. Oh, sorry, keep going.
I mean, I was gonna say it's this type of thinking that brought us Zeo, but it's kind of a shame.
No, I was gonna say it's this type of thinking that brought us people thinking that fucking Build's logo was.
Oh, but yeah, it's kind of this big wasted potential where it's this neat idea where you don't even need to have them important in the plot. You can just have oh, here's an episode where some guy drops a MacGuffin or whatever, and you have a Foundation X guy take it, or talks on a phone about something. Because they do that really briefly in one, in a throwaway X-Aid DVD, the Oja one.
Oh yeah.
Where the whole thing was they were trying to get a fucking Gashat there and some random Foundation.
They wanted to get the safari, the wild safari Gashat.
Yeah. I don't know, but it's it's this neat idea, and they don't do anything with it. And there's all these opportunities that you could have had the points, like with Drive. You could have had Foundation X funding the Roid Mutants, or it's they're doing whatever the hell.
When you think about it, because Drive is obviously Riku Sanjo, but it's weird because if you
that's doubly
two shows. I'm sorry.
Well, that's doubly weird because not only is Sanjo was the only one who ever really used Foundation X, but also they exist in the same universe there with Double, explicitly with the crossover, and they don't really do anything with it in that show, and it's never really
because if you really ignore it, the only two shows that didn't do anything with it between those was Gaim and Wizard. And Wizard, I think didn't they mention them once? They might have.
Not that I'm aware of. I don't believe so at all.
I don't remember. And Gaim, obviously, nobody was mentioned there.
Because it wasn't until there was the Forze Megamax movie was really the last time they got mentioned, and then it wouldn't be until X-Aid where they got a throwaway mention, and then Build where they actually came back and they were important again.
For some reason.
And it's kind of a shame, really. Sorry to kind of interrupt there, because we get the one Foundation X guy who keeps coming back, and he literally has no emotion. They literally make a point about how it's oh, I don't emote at all when I talk. I'm just kind of a boring person. He's lame. He really doesn't contribute anything to the show at all. And then he becomes the final boss for no reason, and it's just a drag. It really is just a waste of time.
Well, let's hope Reiwa.
That
this new era brings us.
Reiwa, you did get it right. You got it right. I don't know.
Hope this new era brings us that shit. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about.
I would be glad if we had a Foundation X type of villain for the next new era.
Well, Jay, there always is the next letter. Foundation Y.
No, you gotta skip to Foundation Z because it sounds cooler.
No. That's going too far.
No. We're gonna skip the American letters. We're gonna get a fucking Foundation Enya, or Foundation what's a Russian letter Foundation.
Foundation Umlaut Z. There's not even an Umlaut Z. That's just create something. Just create some new fucking letter. I don't know. Whatever.
Oh no, it's gonna be Foundation O, but with the two little dots on top to make
the umlaut, yeah.
Shocked face. The surprise O,
Foundation O.
Foundation O. Because that's the last thing you say when you see them. Dun dun dun. I love that shit. But yeah, let's talk a little bit about the aesthetic and the sound before we get into the ending.
Boy.
Yeah, the show really does well.
The aesthetic.
It really does the detective kind of aspect well. It's got a lot of the jazzy kind of noir aspect. Obviously, it's not strictly that. There's a little bit of you get the generic pop and rock that you always kind of get in these shows. There's a lot of the horn. There's a lot of the brass kind of instrument there, and it works really well, and it really fits the mood of the show.
Oh yeah. It has some of my favorite soundtrack, like some of my favorite tunes in all of Rider, like especially the whole point. I swear to God, it sounds like they lifted it right out of the People's Court, where it's like where Shocho's like basically laying it all like how he figured it out. That like that fucking song is great. Like the entire everything in the music wise, this show really did well. I'll even mention it here for insert songs. I think. Well,
Cyclone Maverick, don't stop here.
They're not the greatest. They're not the greatest insert songs in the world, but they do their part. I mean, obviously, one of them was so popular that people still thought that Philip and Shocho sang it until they officially released that version, which is the weirdest thing in the goddamn world. I don't know what timeline I'm living in.
No, yeah, me neither. Yeah, the inserts aren't anything special. I'll be entirely honest. They're fine. They fit the mood, and they do what an insert song should do. They make the fight scenes sound way better than they are because you got this pumping soundtrack that you can't really understand, and it's not really that important because you can't hear it anyways.
Well, I mean, that's kind of funny because this show did something that, for some reason, a show didn't do until Forza, and it didn't do anything ever again with it. Actually, no, it didn't do. It did it with O's, but I don't really count O's because that was just a variation of the opening, where they just have an insert song that doesn't really correlate with a form. Because in this one they had two. They had Glorious Street, which was for Heaven's Tornado. Everyone loves Heaven's Tornado. Don't you forget that. And they had Nobody's Perfect. And they didn't do that again until Saite in Forza. And they haven't done that since, which is, I kind of missed that, where they just have, situational themes. Because anybody who says Nobody's Perfect is a bad song, you have awful taste in music, and you should get your ears checked today. Because that's a great song. Though don't ever watch the music video for that, because it's really weird. It's really weird.
Honestly, a lot of the insert song music videos are just weird in general.
So say what?
I said a lot of the insert song music videos are just weird in general.
I've never seen them actually. Cause the only one I think I've seen is Bounce Back from Forza, where they're fucking riding the Tron bikes, and I don't really even get that. It's really weird because they're just riding Tron, and I'm like, okay.
Well, Tron Legacy had just come out about a few months prior, so that probably is the reason why.
But what does Bounce Back have to do with
It's
Tron?
futuristic!
It's so weird. But yeah, insert wise, I love most of the songs. I mean, of course, everybody remembers the heart-wrenching theme, as we'll get into, the acoustic version of Cyclone Effect. That's again that ranks as one of my favorite ones, just because of the way it's composed. And aesthetic-wise, suit-wise, they're all great. All the suits are. I mean, shit. Double's base form is so sleek. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and you get the monsters, the Dopants there. They're all really varied and all really unique.
Some are better than others.
They don't. Yeah, obviously some are better than others, and some fit better the memory gimmick than others. Obviously, you got a few that what the hell is this supposed to be?
T-Rex.
Don't remind me of the T-Rex.
That fucking head.
The T-Rex that sounds like a fucking a jaguar for some reason.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Oh wait, actually, you know what? While we're talking about suits, I'm gonna start a new bullshit debate in the writer community. We've already had who's the secondary writer in Blade, and what's the final form of O's. I'm gonna start a new one. What's Double's actual color scheme? Green and black or green and purple? Or really, really dark purple. Because remember, there's times where they do show it as really, really dark purple. So get on that internet, see what you can break up. I mean, really, the only suit that kind of gets people going is Extremes, but that's because it's so fucking gaudy.
Yeah, you got the dumb white stripe in the middle and the X. And honestly, I meant to say this about them. The fighting style with the honestly, yeah, that's another thing too. Is the actual action is really well done. Double's
yes.
Double. They make use with the memories there with the whole switching forms really quickly, where each fighting style, each form has its own fighting style, its own powers and stuff. So it's not like newer shows where switching to a different form really doesn't have any effect. They're just all we're gonna slap you with a stick, or we're gonna shoot a beam at you, and it's CG. Meanwhile,
or in sad terms where they just like tackle and hug your stomach.
Yeah, pretty much. Shit, I kind of forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, it's all really varied. He switches it up a lot, where it's not just here's another form we're gonna shell, here's another toy. It's okay, this attack isn't working on this monster. Let's try this attack, and let's try this combo here, and it's all really nice and varied, and that's what I like about Double there.
Oh yeah.
And I think that's kind of the thing I don't like about Extreme is because Extreme he's got the dumb sword, and it shoots a beam, and that's it. And it's kind of lame. It kind of makes the fights kind of boring, is because Extreme just has the power to I know the weakness immediately, and it's just we're gonna shoot a beam at you, and that's it, and that's the weakness.
I shoot beam and win.
He gets the stupid sword
and
the
shield.
And I
just love that. It's like Shotaro, what's his weakness? Let me analyze. What's it say? It says shoot beam and win.
Pew 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 pew.
Yeah,
That's
pretty
every
much.
episode. That's every episode until the ending.
Basically, and it's kind of a disappointment.
With that segue
Into the final
let's talk about
episode.
this. Let's talk about this polarizing ending that honestly to this day will never stop being polarizing, because it really is one of the biggest botched. Well, see, okay, I'll play devil's advocate in the sense that it would not have been a extremely botched ending if they had known Philip was never coming
Yeah.
back. That's kind of
That's what we were alluding
in
to.
reality.
Well,
So let's talk about really the ending
another
in
thing.
general.
No, I'm sorry to cut you
Oh,
off.
sorry, keep going.
there.
No, keep going.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too, is that kind of immediately there, where I kind of mentioned this briefly, where they, God fucking damn it, the Sonozakis get taken care of, their whole organization is destroyed, they're all crumbled, they're done and gone with, but we still have like 4 episodes left, so fuck it. This Foundation X guy had a memory for some reason. Why? Don't ask questions.
Utopia!
He's back, and he's the final boss now. Oh wait, we beat him. Never mind. He's immortal because fuck you. You should have watched the movie. Kid. And it's
I like that.
and it's just a waste, because it's like his plan is like, I'm gonna remove everybody's face for some reason. He doesn't like really have a reason to like want to do anything. He's just there. He's so fucking
like
lame, and it just stretches on.
I think the thing about it is that with Utopia, I don't think anybody really remembers Utopia, because the arc that they had, or the little story that they were telling, wasn't about him at all. It was more about knowing the fact, and it was this fact of Philip learned that eventually he's gonna die if they keep transforming. And they know that they have one more left. And even though he has one more left, like, Shotaro knows this. And Phil's like, he at one point, he's like, I'm fine with doing it. Just transform so we can win, basically. And Shotaro's like, no, I don't want you to fucking die. So we get to episode 48, which is, honest to God, one of the most heart-wrenching episodes I have ever seen in this series, because they don't just kill Philip off, right? They don't just have sad music. No. That would be too easy for the little children at home to take in.
No,
the heroes dying. No. They have to have Shotaro breaking the fuck down, like hardcore breaking down, to the point where it's just like, oh my fucking God, they're really doing this. And then not only that, but he basically just tells Phil, like, okay, let me do it. Like, let me close it. Don't you close it. Let me close it. And it's just like, God, you really wanted to fuck kids up with this one, didn't you guys? it was a heart-wrenching moment, like a legitimately like heart-wrenching moment in this fucking franchise that you did not expect.
Yeah, and and then you get a little bit there too, where he goes back to the agency, the detective base, and he's like, "Oh, Philip gave him this present in the earlier episode." And he opens it, and it's a special belt that only uses one memory, so he can transform on his
It's
own, still be the
it's
Kamen
called The
Rider.
Lost
And it's
Driver.
this
Watch the
really,
movie, kids.
yeah. He got it in the movie, then he stopped using it for some reason. I don't know why he bothered like regifting
It's
it
only
or
used
whatever.
by two other
I get
characters.
it. It's a
It's
sentimental
only used by
thing.
two other characters, Skull and Eternal. But we'll talk about Eternal another day.
That's not really that important. And they have this whole ending there set up where he can still be the writer there, and he doesn't need Philip, and he's so fucking distraught, and he learns how to grow and become the real hard boiled detective he always wanted to be.
Oh yeah.
And then we get the last episode where we cut ahead a year, and he's like I said, he's finally grown and become the detective he's always wanted to be. And then Philip comes back to life, and then he's fine. And now they're
Fuck you,
double.
kid.
again.
See,
Yeah.
and see, I think I should articulate a little better why it fucks up so bad, because taking the episode as is, because the point where he closes the belt and Phil dies, that officially leaves Shotaro on his own, and as Jay said, he's distraught. He has nothing. He doesn't know what to do. And then honestly, the real kick in the balls is when he does find that lost driver and that note from Phil saying, "Good luck on your own. I hope you do your best with or without me." And I'm like, okay, that's the real kick in the fucking nards. So, and see, the thing is, and here's the weird thing, is it might have also been a bit of like self-inflicted guilt, because remember, he doesn't open it until they go up to until afterwards. Maybe in his mind, Shocho's thinking, if I had used this before we fought Utopia, maybe Phil would still be around because he would not have to go through with it. I mean, of course, it would never have worked. They still needed the extreme to even kill the guy, but still,
Yeah.
like it's a weird like self-inflicted guilt. And as Jay said, you jump over a year and you see he's finally matured. He's his own man. He has become who he wanted to be because he finally realized what the price of being that person is. Like,
You
he
need to make
realized,
sacrifices.
this is where my mentor came. This is where my mentor landed because he made all these hard choices. But as soon as Phil comes back,
It's retrograded.
it kind of just it rectifies all of it, because it's basically telling Shotaro, yeah, sacrifices aren't that big of a deal. I can always come back.
No, they
It's cool.
can't.
Yeah, pretty much. See,
that, like, and that's what the show, like, it basically it betrays its own ending in that sense, where it's just like, you didn't need to do that. Like, even if they didn't know, like, even if they knew in advance that Phil wasn't coming back, or they didn't know he was coming back, whatever, that ending still doesn't give, it doesn't give credence to having that ending be as it is. Like, you could even say maybe Phil left a bit of his essence to, like, remember him by, but nothing more.
It's not even like it's the way they do it, where his sister like gives up her life. Wakana gives up her life so he can keep living for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it destroys the whole emotional impact of the ending and all of the whole character arcs and everything like that for just a stupid dumb cop out there, because we need to have him still be double, guys. Like, I get it, we need to have the crossovers now, we need the merch, we can't just not have our full main rider anymore, guys.
And see, that's why I always hate those endings, where it's just, and it's probably the culture of having crossovers to begin with. I hate that, because it's like, that doesn't let writers do what they wanted to do. I imagine Riku,
Like, fuck,
Sanjo
you know what? I'm
probably
gonna
to kill him off.
I'm gonna interrupt you a second. Fucking Go Busters had the ball to kill off a character and keep him killed off, and no, fucking Double can't. Nah, we're too good for that, I guess. Fuck
Yeah, that's
you.
right.
See, here's the thing, and I'm gonna say this bluntly. it's not that bringing him back is the problem. It's the way they do it and the fact that he just comes back to life with no like repercussions or anything. He's just back. I would have been fine if it was like, oh, well, I'm back, kinda, sorta, but I'm not like actually alive. Like I don't have a body, or I'm just here as like a voice kind of thing.
I
That
exist as an essence, if anything.
if it was a reason to have him be able to become double, I would have been fine at the bare minimum. He's like, oh well, I'm still dead, obviously, but I'm kind of back in a way where he can use both memories at once, so they can still be the 2-in-1 thing or whatever. But it's the way where they do it, where he's just alive again. He has a real body now. He's a real boy and everything, and all that. And he's just back.
It's basically
and he's
just
fine.
like, LOL, I'm back.
That's the worst
It's
part.
insulting.
If there was the change to it, where it's not he's back, but he's not fully back, or like, yeah, I'm only back for a little bit. There's limits to what I can do, or et cetera, et cetera. It would have been fine. It would have been fine. Obviously, it still kind of ruins the whole
Bullshit, yeah.
sacrifice there, but it would have been fine. It would have been like, all right, okay, that's fine. I'll give you that much as a conceit. But no, he's just back. He's fine. Absolutely no problems. Absolutely no,
Repercussions.
no consequences, no downsides to him being back. No, like nothing. He's just back, and fuck you.
And see, that's what I'm saying. That's why I hated this new culture that they brought in with Phase 2 Heisei, that they needed. Excuse me. That they needed. They needed crossovers now. It's like that limits everything. Could you imagine? Oh my god, this would have pissed me off, honestly. Could you imagine if Kuga had needed a mandatory crossover with Agito? That would have ruined that fucking ending.
It wouldn't have even
hard.
worked.
It would have just. Could you? Oh my god, could you imagine? Could you imagine if Blade needed a mandatory fucking crossover with Hibiki? Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Oh
at least
my
with
god, that
with
would have been
Blade,
an insult.
At least with Blade, there, it's like, oh well, he's still alive and he's still a writer. You could have just had like, oh okay, well nobody's around. It's just him. They don't need to have anybody else really come back, and that's fine. You can write around that. With fucking Kuga there, I get it. I get it. They kind of have it like, oh well, he's fucked. He's gone. Don't think about it again.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the when you have a decisive ending, that leaves audiences, happy. Like there's so many endings that we have that I think would have been great. Like you can say whatever you want about O's Force Megamax. They at least wrote it away around Ank's sacrifice to where AG's at least trying to find how to bring him back, and eventually he does.
You know what? You fucking that's there. That fucking is the worst part about it. Is that they fucking killed off Philip, but they bring him back because he needed him to be double. But fucking AG dies. He loses all his fucking cores there. He's fucking powerless now. But no, he gets to keep coming back. But fucking Ank's still dead. He's still dead. He doesn't get to come back for reals. No, fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck the O's fans. We don't get our happiness. Fucking double fans do. Fuck you, Sandro. I'm still pissed off. They fucking brought Ankh back for one of the Heisei movies, and they fucking killed him off again. God.
Yeah, that's true.
Damn it.
I forgot he died again. Like, holy
Oh,
I'm so
Jay
mad.
must have put in so many holes in the wall because of that.
I'm so
He probably
upset.
burnt down his home because of that shit, dude. Because it's true. Because again, with mandatory, because at least you could say without Ankh, AG still could transform by himself, sure. But with Double, the very nature of what he is already limited what they could do, and because of that mandatory crossover, there was no way that they could have left him dead, which sucks, man. It sucks because that ending is such a poignant ending. That's why I always tell people, shut the show off after he turns into Joker at the end, and that's it. That can be the ending. because that's all you need. That's you could even say there's a little like to be continued question mark at the end just to like really push that noir thing. And that's it.
That's why we never talk about
because,
the final episode of Double.
Yeah, because it's a joke around the fandom where it's like, no, Double ends at 47 because nothing happens after that.
Honestly, you could just fucking end it when the Sonozakis die. You can just ignore all the fucking Foundation X shit. Even if you want to watch it, just skip the last episode because it's an epilogue. There's a time skip there. You don't need to fucking watch it. It's not like there's a cliffhanger.
Oh, Jay's still fuming.
No, there's not.
I'm mad. Now I'm mad. Yeah, fuck this ending. It's so fucking dumb.
Well, see, his anger is justified because the ending really does betray your trust in these characters and in the writer himself, because this writer was basically telling you death does have a consequence.
Yeah.
People who die in the show stay dead. Terui's parents didn't come back. Skull didn't come back. None of the Sonozakis came back. Shroud didn't come back. Weather didn't come back. Death had a meaning. And then just so Phil can be
I'm back.
Hey, I'm back. What's up?
That destroys the entire...
That's an insulting way. That's an insulting way to like tell your audience that the rules you established were not rules; they were just plot devices.
And imagine you're a kid. Imagine the kids who actually do lose their friends, due to natural causes or to unexpected circumstances. This final episode basically says, "Oh, if you just wish and hope, they'll come back." Yeah, basically. But they're not gonna come back.
You see, I can understand, like, them using the whole what's the rule, the Don Bluth rule, where it's like, be as depressing as you want as long as you have a happy ending. To be fair, Shotaro had a happy enough ending without Phil coming back. He became a man, basically. And and that's for the audience. For us watching him grow, that is such an utterly fulfilling ending that you would have had. Honestly, I think this show would be number one in a lot of people's hearts if that was the ending, because that was such a fulfilling, like, oh my god, he's finally here. Welcome to the world. Like, that would have been awesome. But they kind of betrayed that.
Not kind of, they did.
Well, yeah, they did. And like Jay said, like, they bring Phil back, but no, and then they kill him off again just to say go fuck yourself.
They kill off Beatbuster, and they keep him dead. But no, they gotta bring back Phil. Oh, we're too good for that.
And again, there's only more salt put into the wound because, again, the actor for Philip legitimately does not want to come back. Even if he doesn't technically hate Ryder anymore, he doesn't want to come back. He said himself he's never coming back. So it's like, well, what's the fucking point of this ending?
Again, if he had...
Other than to just give kids
if he had just stayed as Joker. Yeah. If they had just not finished that... we done what they did in that fucking epilogue, Shotaro could have at least come back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, see, the thing is...
I feel bad for his actor, because his actor really enjoys that role, and he can't come back because his co-star is bitching and moaning, saying, I'm not coming back.
And that's, like, the worst part, is that, like, they're still friends. Like, you see them still talk, and like, they still do, like, photo shoots every now and then. But it's not that Philip hates the cast, or he hates, like, being involved with the show, or, being famous from it. He just doesn't want to come back because he doesn't like the character. It's kind of evolved, kind of like Odagiri, where he hates Ryder, he hates being involved with it. He hated his time on it. It's more just like, obviously he's a pretty big name nowadays. He's, makes all this money. He's just like, I wasn't a fan of Philip, and I want to do something different. And obviously, it's a little complicated, is the way it's best.
But see,
that's kind of why the ending.
The thing with Origiri is, like, he at least put it on the table saying, if you pay me and you bring everything
I'll come back.
Hell yeah, I'll be back.
If you drop enough cash and you give me a good script, I'll come back. But with Suda, he's just like, I don't really want to come back at all. Not really.
His reasoning was, I hated the character, and it's like, because he was too effeminate or something. It's like, you were playing a drag queen, like, not 5 months afterwards, you dumbass. What are you talking about?
That's kind of been the go-to excuse. He said that once or twice, and he's never really elaborated on what he means.
I never saw Philip as effeminate. If he means his wardrobe, it's an eclectic wardrobe. It's not a feminine wardrobe. Second off,
again, like I think it might have been because of the whole he kept fainting. I think that's what he hated.
But that's a side effect.
If you use Fang, that doesn't. But see, that's the thing. Like, Shotaro did it too when he used Fang, so that entire argument.
It's a side effect thing. When one person uses the driver, the other person is basically their mind is inside of the rider. Their body is not needed.
See, the thing is, in general, like, even if we're like just ignoring the fact that Suda never wants to come back and he pretends he can actually sing. Even if you ignore all that, honestly, I don't understand. Again, I don't understand the ending, even from a storytelling aspect. You know, you know what it is? It's like the ending of a hero's journey. Only the end of the hero's journey is just the godly creature saying, "Oh, if you wanted the treasure, it was just back at home. It doesn't really matter. You didn't have to come over here."
Pretty much.
It's like that's basically what it's like in Lord of the Rings. It's like they're trying to destroy the ring, and then Gandalf was just like, "There was like a lava pit outside your house. We didn't need to get over here at all. You could have just smashed it with a fucking hammer." I don't know. Honestly, overall though, and we can get into our final thoughts now. Overall, I think Double is still a very good show. Like, it has flaws. I'll say this. It probably has not aged as well as some people say it has, but I also think it's still a very, very, very good show. The ending does fuck it up really bad, but again, just end it as soon as he turns into the Joker. That's it. That's all you need. But overall, I think it's still a very good show. And you know what? I would say if you're starting out, I don't know why you're even at this point, because if you're at this point, my God, we spoiled you rotten. But if you're starting out with Rider, I think this is a good show.
This was my second Rider.
Double has always kind of been Babby's first Sentai. It's really kind of the best way to get in. Yeah, it's the best Sentai, fucking dumbass. Babby's first Rider, and it really is kind of one of the better ones to get into, because like I always say, it's weird, but it's not super weird, and it's just like. It's simple enough where anybody could kind of.
Actually, Double was my second Rider series, and I watched that. And I remember it was on a Blizzard in college. It was on the day we had a Blizzard, right after I just finished Wizard. Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, I mean, basically what AJ said. I love the cast. I love the show overall. It's relatively easygoing, so you don't really need to worry about massive, complex plot threads or bizarre character arcs or whatever. Fuck the ending, ruins the show.
It does, but again, if you can, again, if you want to ignore the epilogue, because fuck the epilogue. It's still a good show, and again, as I said, it's a good show to start with. Again, if you're listening to us and you've never seen this show, I feel bad for you. But if you know somebody who wants to start Rider, give them this one.
Yeah,
totally. But I think with that being said, let's get to the wheel, because we are 2 hours.
2 hours.
Jeez, Well, we kind of rambled on it.
Oh shit, that's right. That's right. God, I'm hungry.
A little bit.
As AJ has done, he put the dumb shit at the beginning.
The wheel goes spinning round and round, round and round.
Spin the wheel. Something.
I was trying to say that one line from Star Trek Wrath of Khan, round and round the moons of Nubia. I think that's what it was. I don't remember.
That's fine. I didn't know what you were talking about anyways.
I guess no one's ever seen the Wrath of Khan here, Jesus.
Khan!
I've seen it, I just don't care.
I guess I'm the only one with culture. All right. Let me just.
Yeah,
because I'm not.
considering that's from a movie series where in one of them they actually go looking for God.
As I've mentioned before, I'm not using my normal computer. I think I've mentioned in the last one. I'm not using my normal computer, so the wheel's a little slower than it should be because, well.
I mean, I can spin the wheel next time if that's going to be an issue.
Oh, maybe. Actually, no. It's linked to my Facebook account, so.
Oh shit.
Fuck.
Never mind.
Indeed. Anyways, all right, here we go. It's finally done,
boy.
and it's landed on. Oh.
Oh, that's a good sound.
I guess we don't. I guess I guess we better have our fill of Mark Hamill next time because.
Oh.
No.
No!
No!
I can't do that one because I get grossed out by that scene.
It is the live-action Guyver movie, the first one with Mark Hamill on the cover.
That's right, Mark.
He's not even the Guyver. Well, I'm sure
So
AJ's happy because now he gets to finally talk about Guyver.
Oh, yes, I can. And I get to talk about how shitty the translators are. Anyways. So we've already done the anime, or at least Jay and Nemeth did. Because
that was
sick.
And I didn't even do it.
Wait, oh no, I wasn't sick. I was out of town.
Yeah.
So Nemeth and Jay did that one. So this time, we're going to watch Guyver, the live-action one. And hopefully we get to land on it again so we can do the David Hayter one, because obviously that one's way better. But, I hope you like racial stereotypes, really weird effects, and Mark Hamill not being in your
And Mark Hamill turning into a monster.
So, with that being said, everybody, I hope you liked. I don't know why I'm doing this voice. I hope you liked this episode. I hope you follow us. And as I mentioned before, all the links are in the description. And heck, you know what? I didn't even mention this. Leave us a review on iTunes, because that helps us a shit ton.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, as always, I am AJ, that's Jay.
Goodbye.
That's...
I'm hungry.
And then... We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.